Speaking of killing the vibe, hello and welcome to Pit Against a live
Holy
Western College
light,
show. I'm William Table and
brother.
Legs, and I'm joined by my constant co-host Kevin Smurph Murphy. Kevin, what's up?
I'm so tired, dude.
Radio
I'm
Captive,
so
you're tired? Yeah, you're tired. You just got back from PT. Yeah, tell me about that
yeah,
actually.
yeah. I got back Tuesday. Yeah. I left last Tuesday, and I land Japan Wednesday. We just kind of chill Thursday, pre
Sick.
keynote. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday playing, and then running around Tokyo on Monday. Fly back Tuesday. And jet lag has been way worse for me than before.
Oh gosh.
But
Well,
oh well.
I'm gonna be. I was thinking about this the other day. For nationals, I'm gonna be taking a plane, and it'll be the first time I've taken a plane in like some 15 years or something like that. Like we went on
Okay.
actually a lot of trips as a kid, but then after I was an adult, I'm I'm not just gonna go out on a plane myself.
Why
Like
not?
where would I go? But now I have an excuse to go somewhere. So first time
Fab
on a plane
events.
ride in forever. Um, Radio Captive says, "How did you not watch the Teklo game?
It was Boost Teklo. It was the good Teklo to watch.
Was it?"
Yeah.
I saw Teklo in top 8, and I was like, this game's gonna take forever, and I'll just
No, it was
watch
Boost
the next one.
Teklo.
Boost Teklo. Maybe I should watch it and actually know how that deck works because I don't.
Yeah, probably.
I only know how fatigue Teklo goes. You can go ahead. Sorry. Pit Against is a live call-in show. If you'd like to be live on air talking to us about your outtake, join the Pit Against Discord by clicking on the link in the description. You could join the waiting room channel, put your hot take in the topics text channel. If you like your take, we'll put you on for a mic check and put you on air. You can also send a take in the topics text channel, in the stream chat, in the comments, or you can walk up to my office door like my wife just did. And if so, I can bring up those hot takes live on air. She told me not to bring this one up. It's fun. The game's fun. All right, I'll watch it. I'll watch the Teklo game. I'll do it.
Yeah. He was on stream at least twice, including top 8.
This
So,
the same Teklo.
yeah.
That's sick, actually. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, to get into that, my first topic was going to be of this top 8, of this Teklovossen. And so the top 8 was Acilio,
Yep.
Marionette, Teklovossen, Rhinar, and an 8th one.
Victor.
Victor, that's it. A lot of those I kind of expected. 2 of them are wild
Yep.
cards, as we've been bringing up Teklovossen and Rhinar. And so this
Yes.
isn't a hot take because y'all haven't given your hot takes yet. But how they get there?
Rhinar is Eugene,
Yeah.
and he plays to coin flip every game, and he won enough coin flips in a row to get there this time.
Is that disrespectful to say?
No, I mean
Okay.
the way he plays the game is like
I've seen him play the game, and it looks like that, but
so he's not taking coin flips. He's taking a lot of 2 and 3s or 3 and 4s.
higher risk than what most players are doing.
Yes, he does. I think it's 100% fair to say it does play higher risk than anyone else we see.
Yeah.
That's just like a fact of the lines that he's taking. And it paid off this time. And I think this was also a pretty good meta for it. I think the
Yes.
Marionette matchup isn't terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
He plays to high roll it, just like he plays to high roll the Acilio matchup.
Makes sense.
And then Victor's going to be a good matchup for him because
Yeah.
Intimidate against block cards is just good. That's part of why we saw Rhinar do really well in the calling as well. They found a few Victors. I think they also beat a Gravy Bones at one point, though. They found me on Prism, so like you get some decent matchups, and Reinar's going to do all right, but he also like he played to win.
It's neat. I'm just thinking about as someone who plays Marionette, and I started thinking about it a bit more. If you're playing for the high roll, you're playing for the almost the coin flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marionette is probably the highest value assassin we've had, like per card, like a very high value deck for an assassin, notoriously a class that does not have high value.
Yes.
That said, it's still not incredibly high. Like it's not unless you have to draw your value cards.
Sure.
There's
but
value
there's
cards.
a lot
And
of zero
there's,
for
like,
fours
there is a lot of 0 for 4s.
in that deck.
So I can see it. It makes more sense now. Him not intimidating in the Nacilio game was heartbreaking. Was that the top 4 semis?
I'm gonna guess.
That game was sick. I liked watching the semis games. I liked watching the finals. But the thing I was going to bring up was I went through the stream, and on the stream they list their run for the day.
Yeah.
Eugene in CC specifically played. Do you remember what he played? Like what his run probably looked like?
No, I don't remember.
It was 4 victors, 1 Acilio, 1 Ira, 2 marionettes, and a Dio. His losses were 1 of the marionettes, and then 2 in Sage.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And also the matchups, as much of a coin flip as you can have in game, gym roulette is definitely a thing. And 4 victors and 1 Ira is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. That's a great matchup spread.
That's a great spread. I mean, he still had to play against Bartosz, which he lost on, who's on Marionette. He played against Michael Fung was on one of the victors. I think we saw that one on stream.
We did.
Sam Sutherland was his round 15 on Dio.
Not a free matchup.
Not a free matchup, but he got there.
Also a higher variance one where I could see the win rate being slightly higher than the other aggro matchups, especially with the way Eugene had built his deck and the way he plays it.
If you high roll and just happen to hit the right cards, your damage is basically free. Like it.
Yeah, he's playing the high roll, and Dio is a deck that can also low roll a little bit easier, or is a little bit more likely to low roll than other aggro decks. So,
yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Talking about the run, and then the other thing is this Teklovossen deck. I don't know anything about it. They have cards that say boost in it. What does it do?
Yeah, it's the boost Teklo deck.
You play boost, you put cards into Banish Zone.
Yeah.
And then you play them out of your Banish Zone. Is it almost like value in that sense, or?
Yeah,
like,
it's actually a pretty like high value turn value deck.
Okay.
Just because if you anytime you boost an Evo, it's equivalent to drawing a card. So like, okay.
The Teklovossen, their run was, all their losses were in CC, so they went 6-0 in Sage. But they played 4 Marionettes, Huntsman, Peter Budinzik on Acilio, Damien Riggins on Victor. Michael Hamilton was one of the Acilios. He also played Sam Sutherland. The losses were Michael Hamilton on Acilio and 2 Huntsmans. But like beat a Huntsman, very obviously, beat Peter on Acilio, which was interesting, and Sam Sutherland. I don't know what this deck's matchup spreads look like. Is this a deck that gets fatigued? Is this a deck that stuffs aggro? Like, what are you expecting when you play this deck into a field? Like, what meta are you hitting at?
I mean, you want to hit the. You honestly want to like do the. You're very like Rhinar. You want to find the Guardians. You want to find the Warriors. You want to find the
Okay.
mid-range decks that
Yeah.
want to block you, because then you get to set up like a pretty effective late game. And I imagine there's a little bit of a flex package in there because he does run Foundry Heart in some matchups. But,
Okay. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was interesting.
Yeah,
I guess that
which
does
means your
explain
singularity
losses
doesn't
were.
work. So
I also think it's interesting how he went 6-0 in Sage, whereas Eugene went 4-2.
yeah,
Where your losses are is really interesting. I didn't catch
Yep.
what his Sage deck was, but going 6-0 is pretty sick.
yeah. Here, come here, Gordon. Yeah, come on.
What's up, Gordon?
Yeah.
Really hard to be fatigued with Singularity. That is very true. It's interesting because there's all these fatigue decks have their own. He's T-posing. The fatigue decks have end games, like that's part of the deck, and
Yeah.
so the funny thing about Flesh and Blood when it comes to fatigue decks is, or decks that will go late. What is
Yeah.
your end game strategy, and how does it match up into somebody else's?
Yep.
Like the remembrance visit, Goldmane, Victors, and Singularity for Mr. Teklovossen. How they match up. Rhinar kind of, but Rhinar's end game is just intimidate 4 times a couple of times.
Yeah, is just say you
It's,
can't.
it's
block.
almost more like a combo in that sense.
Yeah. I agree.
So it's interesting how those go together. Do you want me to just read this take in
Topics chat.
topics chat?
Sure.
Okay, so Senior Bin says, I want to know what you guys think about proxies.
Depends on the context.
That's exactly what I was thinking, where at big events, you're just not allowed to play them. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. You are technically not allowed to play them in any gem
Yeah.
match made game or event.
Which I think the intention makes a lot of sense. They're a company,
Yep.
they need to sell cards.
They also just like want a blanket policy on it that is not going to vary anywhere else. The policy is just you can't
Yeah.
use proxies.
Just use official cards.
Yeah. I have proxies in my cube. I'm not buying extra E-strikes. I'm not buying extra shelters. I happened to open a shelter this last weekend and I can put that in the cube. But like, I'm not buying extra channel lightning valleys. I'm not buying extra mind warps. Like,
I think that makes
that's
sense.
an entirely casual event.
Mm-hmm.
I think anything obviously PQ and up, you should have the cards. That's, I think, the way it should work. That's just fair to everyone.
I don't think this is like, I don't know what context they want us to talk about proxies, but if the question is like a matter of should a certain amount be legal, like I've heard people like, we should be allowed to have, there should be a better policy for proxies when it comes to fables at bigger events.
I think they're already trying to address that.
Okay.
In the one, the reprints, 2, their non-foils.
Love that. Love that for me.
Great, love it. Did it really change the prices? No.
No.
So if your argument is price, that's a separate
If your
question.
argument is price, yeah, that is a separate question. That's more of this is an expensive hobby. But
Yes.
if you're concerned about them curling because they're foil and you want it in your deck,
You if you are at a
you can get
one,
a non-foil.
Yeah, one, you can get a non-foil now if you don't want to spend the money on it or you don't want to go through the hassle of trading it. At any calling plus event, you can go to a judge and they will issue you a proxy. If you were to take that proxy to any PQ, I imagine the judge there would not have an issue with it as long as you have the card and you can show it to them, which is the rule anyways. If you're worried about it at an armory level, if we're talking about proxies, the policy is you don't, but that's generally been up to the armory. I know people who have proxied cards the week or two before release, before a set release, because of one reason or another. They wanted to, yada, yada, yada. Prep for events like Nationals the week of release or something, so people would proxy the cards the week before and play them for armory. And like,
Armory is testing for some people. And sometimes it's not just testing, like, you're trying to practice decks, which you might, if it's a very expensive deck, you might proxy some things.
Yeah.
But also just, like, if you don't know if you're going to buy into a deck. You played Aurora, you don't know if you want to buy into Phi.
Yeah.
Not that it's super expensive, but, like, for the equipment, you just, like, proxy some cards.
Like,
I could see that being fine. I don't know. I feel like in that context, at an armory level, it's just kind of like talk to people.
Yep.
What's the vibe? What's
the vibe of the room, and what's your reason for doing it? Is it just you don't want to spend the money and you're trying to just be a stickler because you don't want to buy a tunic? Then it's like, okay.
Ben is typing in chat. If he retorts back, I'm gonna say, try to come on air.
I'd rather you just buy it, or I'd rather you just borrow a tunic, excuse me, from somebody who has a spare.
True.
Like, everyone,
we have people who borrow decks.
Like established, so many. That was going to say, so many of the established players at my armories have just entire spare decks that aren't proxied. Like, you could probably borrow whatever cards you needed without having to proxy them, and then there's just no issue, not just for you, but for the store. Because my understanding is the store can get in trouble if they allow you to proxy and they know about it.
If, like, everyone at the armory is basically just not playing with official cards, that would be a different kind of problem. Especially if you had if you had like a whole deck, like you paid a company to like make proxies of a card.
Proxies.
Yeah, like on cardboard.
Yeah.
That could be a problem. But I think in general it's like, I don't know. It's
read
not
the room.
Read the rules. Also read the room, and then just be aware. And if everyone's like no, like if I don't know, I can't think of a context, but at an armory, people are just like
just ask to borrow.
Ask to borrow if you can.
Yeah.
And then if they really say no, then you just got to be okay with that. You're against the rules on this anyways.
Yes, you are against the rules, even if like the rules are being a little bit stricter than most people would choose to be.
Sure. Yep. All right.
But
what else? What else happened? So we had the PT happen this week. Was there anything else interesting about it that I'm not remembering?
Is Sage a good format?
Oh, we had Sage at the PT. That was like a whole chunk of it. And I actually glazed over it earlier, and I didn't even think about the fact that I just ignored it for the most part. I guess in that sense, you can technically write it off as a forgettable format. And then what is the definition of good if forgettable is on the table?
Well, if it's forgettable, it's not a good format for entertainment, but neither was draft.
Also kind of true.
I think that's pretty inarguable when they look at their viewership numbers.
I hate that's right. Because playing draft is so much fun. And when you're and certain draft formats really emphasize good players. Like skill shows up, and it's a great metric for these events. But you can't get everyone to sit down and watch a draft game.
Yeah.
So they need to do like Magic and just put 2 Majestics in every pack.
No.
I will say that is one thing in Magic Draft right now is they moved to play boosters, which has on average higher rarity in the packs because they just have more Hello Gordon stuff in the packs.
They mixed their what was it? Because they had set boosters and draft boosters that they split to, and they just went back to the middle ground.
Merged them. And so in that sense, draft games are much more explosive. Like I do remember
Yeah.
was it a March? What set was that? March of the Machines, where someone opened like 2 routes on stream, which is just a board wipe, which in limited
Oh,
is kind of insane. It's a board
kind of
wipe.
keen, I think.
It's a board wipe that if you pay enough mana into it, it makes creatures afterwards, and it's like you draft two of
Oh,
them. That's game winning.
is it the one that incubates?
It's either the one that incubates or it's the one that makes might creatures, like the 1/1 white mites that
Oh,
can't block.
mites.
I can't remember which one it is.
Sure.
It's one of those two. But seeing someone open those made the games much more interesting and explosive, but I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good from like logistics sort of way.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Silver Age is probably better than where I had initially put it. Um,
I think it's better than
I
where everyone had it. There was so
pretty
many
much
people who were just like, it's KO format. And even if it
it.
is revolved around KO, everything that revolves around it can made it more interesting. It was more
Yes,
diverse in the around KO.
yes, it was. I still think the issue is KO is your metric for the format, and that's just unavoidable with the current card pool he has. Which is funny to say when Ira shows up like almost by a factor of 2 into KO, but that's because Ira is like targeting KO, and Oldhim and Valda are trying to target KO, and then you have decks that are trying to target them. I like KO just is your metric for the format. Like Valda doesn't
I
show
think
up
I
in the
didn't.
numbers that she does without KO.
Yeah. I think I didn't see the metrics on how many of each hero were
It
in
was like
Sage.
130 Ira, and then
It's a lot of Ira.
85 KO, and then 50 Oldhim, 50 Valda.
That's right. It was like mostly 4 heroes. But then
Yes,
like
and then it dropped to like 30s.
when you looked at the top tables, there was a lot more other interesting things. Florian was showing up, Briar
Yeah.
was showing up, Icelander was showing up,
Yes. So Florian was doing well
Kano.
because it does well into Valda and Oldhim,
Yeah.
and then can be okay into KO. It's not great. Also decent into Ira.
Josh Laubot Dash, I forgot about that.
Yeah. OG Dash was
OG
played
Dash.
to some like reasonable success. I'll fully say that.
Yeah.
It was a very good aggro deck. In numbers, it could challenge KO and would challenge Ira, but then its Oldhim matchup I think is pretty tough. We never found a solution for it. The Icelander deck, I think, was preying on the Guardians bringing AB1 and not trying to tech for Kano. I think that deck has a lot more problems if people are expecting it.
Yeah.
I think Kano also has more problems if people do respect it. Not like crazy, but still, like Kano's fitting into that triangle where Kano's trying to beat the decks that beat KO. And then Ira's kind of like your 45%er across the board deck.
I
45 to 55. I do want to asterisk all of this a little bit. And the same thing happened at Worlds where no Viserais were like X1 going into the LL portion of Worlds. So you just don't see Viserai at the top tables.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah.
And Viserai was like kind of widely agreed to be the deck to play.
Yeah.
And then people tried some people thought you could play chain into it. And it's like the pummel chain probably was decent into it, but like not seeing any Viserai at those top tables was kind of crazy. And I think we have a little bit of that happening as well, where it's like the decks that show up are going to look good. You're playing a little PQ 6-round PQ with the other people that are 5-0 and X1 and whatever decks they brought.
Yeah.
So the meta you're going to see at the top tables is going to be based on the people who started 4-1 or 5-0.
The PT
And that's just
meta.
an artifact of the way these events work. This wasn't a calling where from round one you have OG dashes having to not drop 3 games to Guardians,
Yeah.
or like
There's some.
you're just like spiking the second format, and
It's
the I don't know.
it's
I
weird.
don't know that this was a great metric.
It's weird how Jim will all work and all that. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the top 8 victors, Nicholas's run, and in Sage specifically, he played 3 Kanos. I don't have what deck he was playing in Sage. You can go back
sure.
and check that out if you wanted to. But he played 3 Kanos, went 2-1 into them. He beat Michael Fung on Florian, somebody on Ira, and somebody on Dory. So there was a Dory at the end of day 1 that he played,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Is interestingly so many decks that people were bringing to like beat Kano and to beat the decks that beat KO, beat the decks that beat KO. That there was a lot of odd matchups that were just showing up. It's like not what you're teched for, and it's a matchup
Yeah.
you run into.
Nicola Jamul
Yes,
played Florian in Sage.
played Florian. He beat 2 Kanos.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's not supposed to hapen.
That's not supposed.
the way
That's
supposed to
so
work.
wild.
Yeah.
And interestingly, so one of them was round 6, so it was the first round of day 1. But the other 2 were the last 2 rounds of Sage in day 2, including Felipe Cardoso, and
Very good Kano player.
yeah, very good. And the loss was actually the round 11 opponent, which I don't know who this person is, Joshua Lim, but
Lind, Lind.
Lim. Joshua Miles Myles Lim.
I don't recognize that name.
Yeah, I don't recognize that name either, but they made day 2 with Kano in Sage and beat Nicholas. So clearly somebody. But it's interesting how the Sage meta winded up. But your original question, was it, is Sage good or is Sage fun? Which one did you say?
Is Sage a good format?
Is Sage a good format? That's a very
Because that is
smart
separate
way to answer
from-
the question or ask the question.
Because that is separate from an individual enjoyment of the format.
Yeah, because I think it's not awful.
I think it's fine. I think it is better
it's-
than I gave it credit for.
Okay.
I think the problem is still 20 health format.
Here's the problem is I want a vague statement. I want a vague answer to this question of either it's awesome, it's terrible, or it's fine for Sage at this PT. You said it's fine.
I think it's fine.
How about LL at Worlds?
I don't think it was good. I think people tried to Band-Aid solution some stuff, and I think internal testing got the better of a lot of people, and I think LL was not good. LL was probably worse at Worlds than Sage was at this PT.
Which one was a better entertainment product? Do you think more
Probably-
people would sit and watch LL games than Sage games?
No.
No.
I think so. There's an issue with that.
Okay.
Who wants to watch LL?
Me.
All the old players.
Oh no! Ah! The boomers.
All the people
All the
who have been
boomers.
around the longest are more likely to want to watch LL. People who have just joined the
Oh
game
no!
in the last year are more likely to want to watch Sage.
That's I hadn't thought about it until you said that, until you gave me the existential crisis, but like that actually makes sense. Do you think that works
Cool.
proportionally? Like the older you are, the less interested in Sage. The newer you are, the more interested in Sage.
Yeah, I think so. Because the longer you've been playing this game, the less time you've spent in what I'm going to call Fab 3.0,
Yeah.
or what people are calling Fab
Yes.
3.0.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the current, a lot of people who have been playing the game for a long time haven't enjoyed the last year a ton. So if you started playing in the last year, it's because you like this, and you're more likely to like Sage, I think, as a result.
No, I
But
think it makes sense. I
yeah,
I also want to point out the armpit was like when we were talking about is Sage, how was Sage? They said it's fine, but it'll get better, and I think I agree with that because it's like LSS have shown that if they stick to something, they will iterate on it until it's
yeah,
good or until it's gone, right?
yeah.
And so I expect it to get better.
Yes, I do as well. I think I still have
Prob-
questions around the fundamental issues of the format
There's
being
probably a
a 20-0
ceiling
format,
on
but
it will get better,
yes, I think
which
so.
sucks. But
Clark, I do want to. Clark, I fully agree with you. LL decks are doing big cool stuff, and that's why other people would like watching it. I think if they were to simply ban the chest piece from both Dio and Viserai, I think the format is infinitely more interesting and would have just straight up been better than Sage, and would also have been a better viewing experience, in addition to a better format. Like, I think the format is actually in a really good spot if you eliminate those two basically OTK decks. Like,
I
LL was on the cusp of being great, and they decided to shelve it after they declared victory.
I I hate having to relive that moment. Like I just want to go back to LL being a format, Sage being or CC being a format, and then they also have Sage. Like I feel like you just cover all your bases if you have all three as formats, and then you just hire 20 more devs. It's said so plainly as someone with a microphone in front of the camera.
I mean, if he can afford $2,000 designer vests, I think they could probably, find money for devs somewhere.
Just, I don't know specifically what you're referring to, but I did see Hayden Dale's outfit, which was awesome. Did you see that?
Yeah,
It was so bold.
that was
I
some.
loved it.
I work in the fashion industry.
I was
Shit.
like, I forgot who I was talking to. It might have been Diana, where I was just like, oh yeah, he works in the fashion industry.
Yep.
That's where that comes from. Uh,
Yeah,
it's, but
go for it, man.
I couldn't see myself wearing it.
No,
I
I would not.
I could see myself hanging out with someone in like I wouldn't be embarrassed to hang out with someone wearing that. It would also probably be the
Depends on the context.
I think it's definitely the loudest outfit in the room, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Also, he's like 6'8" or something, right? Like he's gonna stand out a bit.
He's on the taller side, but he's not 6'8".
No. But he is on the taller side, and so you're going to stick out, and then you wear that which sticks out. I don't know. What I'm not doing is bashing it. I thought it was sick, and when I saw it, I was like, I love that. I couldn't wear it. I don't think I have the strength to wear it, but it was cool.
I wouldn't want to wear it. I don't get it. But also, it's not my job.
I think
to get
that's
it.
I think that's what everyone in chat was saying was I don't
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
which is fine.
I I guess. Okay, if you're gonna do something or say something, and the general response is, "I don't get it," that doesn't feel like a success.
That's art, baby. I love it.
That's terrible art.
It's like when the new player presents their custom CC deck that they've brewed, and you're like, I don't get it. And they're like, it's art.
It's
It's art.
it is definitely an idea founded behind the notion of like there's a fine line between crazy and genius,
I think
and nobody can tell which side of the line you're on
here's
because
my
nobody
problem is
understands
I'm trying
the
to
question.
decide how deep I want to get into this because it's a tangent already that I have a lot of
Yeah.
opinions on, but I think
Okay.
I think it's great. I think it's great
Go
in
for it, man.
concept. And yeah, go for it. Absolutely. I think it's great in
Do,
concept.
do whatever. I'm gonna watch the games. That's what I'm there for.
I thought his casting was great too. I actually enjoyed it when he was on stream. He was paired with
His
uh
casting was fine. It felt like there were a couple moments. It felt like this for all the casters this weekend, where they felt like they needed to add something to the
well,
moment. And
that's flesh and blood
this has
casting.
like kind of always been a thing for fab casting where people feel like they need to add something to the moment to make it
I
interesting
mean,
or
I think we've said
special.
a lot of times where like the best flesh and blood casting is probably just like golf casting, where it's like there's a lot of downtime. You got 3 minute turns of just thinking before you play a card.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to just give context and
Like have those moments
yeah.
like the finals of this PT, like the finals of LA.
Okay.
Have those
Yes.
moments, please.
Those were
But at the same
awesome.
time, we don't need
Not every game
everything.
deserves that moment, and that
Yeah.
moment doesn't happen more than once a game usually. Sometimes it does,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
usually it doesn't happen more than once a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The casting was fine. It was what I've come to
I
expect
liked it.
from the fab casting, but like I don't listen to casting most of the time anyway. So
You hate the low muttering with zero energy? That's actually one
I'm
of my
not saying
no no
I'm not saying zero
Clark.
energy. Yeah, yeah.
Like I think of like the casting you hear on Magic from like the old heads who still do Magic casting. I love that.
Oh,
What's
what was his
there's someone in particular I'm thinking of whose name is
Frick?
not in my mouth right now.
The guy who worked for LSS for a bit.
Cedric.
Yeah,
Cedric Phillips is an
I
amazing caster.
I love listening to his casting.
Love
From back
listening
in
to
the
his
day.
casting.
Because it's like for me, it's exactly like what I feel like I'm missing from like current Magic casting of like what is happening.
What is
Tell me
happening
what's happening.
is so important, especially if it's like if it's what's really interesting is when you're 4 layers deep, right? You don't
Yeah,
do layer 1 and 2, and you're like, or what's extra funny is when you do layer 1, or I'm sorry, you do layer 1, like the bottom tier, because you
yeah,
went all the way up in your head to 5, and you were like actually 1. Like we've come
sure.
full circle in layers. Like when it comes so complex that you have to break down the thought processes.
Yeah,
Like it's like yeah, obviously you play that card, but then you have to think about all the other permutations that let
hmm
you play that card.
yeah. And all of this is not to say that like low energy casting is what I like. It's like no, know when to pick your moments.
Yeah,
Like you don't need to make every sigil of brilliance draw a moment
fair enough.
or every Acilio activation a moment.
Trying to find
Like
a list of Magic casters.
if you're trying to make everything a moment, nothing will be an actual memorable moment. That's just it.
Patrick Sullivan.
Yeah.
And there's another person who I just think of as the Magic caster, and I can't think of his name right now. Oh well, I'll figure it out. Someone else will say it hopefully. But I like the, and it looks like he's setting up his pitch stack here. This is interesting that he's probably going to stack it this way. You know, like when you're like breaking down. Actually, that's part of the thing that I thought was interesting in Hayden's casting was he wasn't screaming,
No,
to
he,
put it
he never
blunt.
like yeah, he never got hype about it.
Yeah.
But like The line that kind of stuck out for me
Oh,
was Yuki got to opt like 7 or something off a spindle.
that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
That's kind of
and he
great.
was, and like before they had like swapped to the hand cam so the stream could see it. He was like, and it looks like she's found a mix of things. And I'm like, okay,
I think okay. Here's the thing: is
I understand what you're trying to do. I don't,
magic casting.
I don't know that that one worked.
That magic casting will allow there to be dead air for a minute, for a second, for a few seconds. It feels like if they're like
Depending on the
letting,
situation,
depending
yeah.
on the situation, they'll just let it hang there, and I think
Yeah,
that's fine, and I like that.
yeah. Also, I think some
Can't
of
find this guy.
Samo Burns like game intros were like,
Oh,
okay, you're just trying not to say game twice in this sentence.
I
Or begin twice in this
the
sentence.
beginning
Like,
the beginning of the games, I didn't pay it. I didn't have volume on for those.
oh yeah. I
I had the
I don't
graphics on
know.
screen. I remembered an event that
Casting is hard.
yeah, casting is hard. As people have tried it before, casting's hard. You're doing a great job of expanding on your opinion here. True. Um, what was I? Screw it. I'm not gonna remember that name. I don't know. This is definitely our opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think some people would get a lot more out of it if you had Subway Surfers on screen, but I don't think that makes for a better cast. So,
Yeah.
Senior Ben, if we have the time, I think we have the time. Also had another question.
Yeah.
Our opinion on Hero Bloat. It's been a minute since we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Though I believe our opinions probably haven't changed much.
Probably not.
If you want to go for it.
I think it's generally still not a problem, and because there's two issues that people talk about with hero bloat, and one of them is competitively, are there too many heroes you have to prep for?
Yes.
And I think that's not a huge issue right now. I think the last meta was a better argument for that being an issue, but at the same time, uh, everyone's in the same situation. Everyone has to deal with the
It's
same stuff.
yeah.
Um,
There was a time earlier in Flesh and Blood when the game wasn't nearly as big
yeah.
that more professional players would complain about hero not they wouldn't the name Hero Bloat, we didn't have that name out there, but they would complain about the
Mhm.
number of viable heroes in the game because they were high they were just rolling through every event they'd show up to. They're the only people
Yeah.
spending enough time in the game. And so when you have to prep for more heroes, and then you're less likely to just get a bunch of free wins.
I mean,
I have always had
the
zero
argument
sympathy
is,
for that one. But
yeah, the argument is more often they don't have time to test every matchup then, but at the same time then nobody has time to test every matchup. Um, so then it's like it's an even playing field, and whether or not that's good for the game is feels more
well,
personal.
it's not an even playing field because it definitely advantages teams, which is a thing that people complained about, where it's like the individual
Sure.
has a
Okay.
harder time compared to the group. If you have 20 people and
Yeah.
everyone's got like a deck that they're leaning towards, and you're just like, uh,
Mm,
it makes it a little easier. Even still, if you're playing one deck and
I,
you're on that deck and you have 20 other decks you need to know the matchups into,
yeah.
that's
Like
very
you don't
difficult to do even with a team.
you don't have the time. Like
Yeah.
you get better data because you have people working on every deck and you get to see every deck, but that doesn't mean you get to play every matchup or that you have the time to play and test every matchup and work on every matchup.
Where it
That's
does
kind
help
of
is if like a tier C deck is surprisingly better
yeah.
than everyone expects, and they're like, actually, the matchup spread for this is like you're hard winning like 60% of these decks, and then
Yep.
like it's fine into the rest of these, and then it's like you found this tier 3 deck is actually better than it really is.
Yeah.
And or like representation might look a certain way, so then you can plan for that in your deck choices. But I don't know. I think it's. I also have not great sympathy for teams are better argument, because like you can always just play
You can
more
find
with
people
your
to work with.
locals. You can find people online. You can find people in
Yeah.
person. You can find people to share opinions with. So
Yeah. The quality of the data you get can vary, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
I also think then when you work with a team, you run into other issues of you're gonna assume something isn't good when it in fact
In
is, and then you end
in
up in a little
in
circle.
testing, problems are always
Yeah.
a thing. Like testing metas.
So you're
It's
more likely in a wider meta, you're more likely to get or you're not more likely, but you can still get good data that doesn't get kind of tainted by a circular testing process.
yeah.
But that's one of them. One of
That's
the
one of
definitions
them.
of hero bloat. The other one is there's too many heroes in the game for them to give all of them support. Which
I don't really care about
that's
this one at all. So
I mean the
if I
argument is
yeah.
there's like gonna be people who want to play Betsy, and Betsy isn't getting the support she needs to be viable. So like,
Sure.
what do those people do? And it's like, well, if they could only support 20 heroes, I don't know.
I feel like the like in a perfect world answer, which is not necessarily been indicative of the game. It might be changing. Is in a perfect world, it's like they're not all going to be supported at the same time, but they will
No.
all get supported in the sense of a couple of heroes will rotate out. They'll come out with the Betsy Armory deck. They'll come out with more specs, and eventually she's tier 2. She or
Yeah.
tier 1, and like slowly
I
leaves the
mean,
game.
Huntsman is actually a tier 2 deck now that you need to have
Huntsman's
a game plan
a
for.
great example. Olympia is getting a weapon in a deck.
Azalea.
Azalea. Yeah, like it happens. It's going to be slow, but it
Yeah.
happens in the same way
And
that it's like slow when metas of classes come in and out of favor. Like Guardians was so strong for a while. They've dipped
yeah.
out. They're starting to come back in. Assassins
Yep.
were huge. They're still huge. I fully expect, they'll dip out of the meta and then dip back in at some
hmm
point.
But like the more heroes there are in the game, the less an individual hero is going to get support on average. And that's because all of the heroes are pretty insular still. You don't have a lot of crossover. I think even like the two Asilios are going to have some crossover, but not a ton. Although
Yeah.
banning Volzar is going to kind of force them in the same lane. The biggest logistical problem LSS has to contend with. I don't disagree with that. They can only put so many cards in a set, especially if they want the set to be draftable. It's kind of why they did Compendium, and Compendium did a lot to kind of alleviate some of those things.
It's also hard because they're making these sets a year out, and
Yeah,
you just kind of have to guess what the meta looks like. They're like,
yeah.
Marionette's not doing that great with Slippy so strong in the game. Maybe we give Marionette a card in the set, and then like a year later comes by, no one's playing Slippy because they had to ban
Well,
Bonds.
yeah,
And then it's like, oh, we just gave Marionette something. This is a hypothetical, but like,
sure.
something like that could happen.
Yeah, and I mean the other artifact of this is they're using the LL system, but they also want all of these old class talent combos to come back, which then means we're just going to be adding more as we add more talents. So like we added Draconic and Mystic to the Illusionist sets. And presumably we're going to get more at some point, but we've also had a light illusionist replacement. We're going to have another light illusionist at some point. We're going to have another draconic illusionist at some point, another mystic illusionist at some point. So if we had another illusionist somewhere, how do we
Like
are we
lightning.
supporting all of them?
Um,
Like can we
I
print support for all of these heroes at the same time? Like can we actually put enough cards in a set to support all of them? Which then the question becomes, do they need to?
that's
And the answer to
my
that
point.
is technically no, but Are they going to get better retention from their wider audience if they do? Yes.
I
And
think,
they have
yeah.
to balance that, and I think they've done an okay job of it. But I do agree with Clark that it is one of their bigger problems is
Hmm.
like figuring out what to support and how much. And I think Compendium is them kind of band-aiding it in a way that's like fine.
I feel like it's a perception, maybe that's not the right word, problem that like is very hard to solve in the sense of like you shouldn't be maining a hero. You should main a class. And with mastery packs or not mastery pack guardian, mastery pack warrior, mindsets like that. Like if it's like, oh, we got, lightning illusionist support, if it was interpreted better as like, oh, we got, illusionist support, it's a different hero and you can play a different deck, but it's like, well, I have
I
my
mean,
prism deck right now, and for when she rotates I have my Ziggy deck or whatever.
so my issue with that is because currently there's not much overlap hero to hero.
That is true.
I think Warrior has the most overlap, and it's still not much. It's basically just like the dual wield warriors that are going to overlap. Marionette is a completely different deck from Slippy, which was a completely different deck from New, was a completely different deck from Missouri. And then Huntsman is their own thing.
And maybe
So
it's
the
me,
idea,
but I enjoy all of them. Like I've
sure,
played them all and I'm
and
like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I do want to do this.
But the notion of main a class, not a hero, is not as simple
No,
as
it's
it sounds.
and some people get really attached to specifically the hero's playstyle. Like I
Yes,
think a lot of
I
Aurora people would like playing Syndra or playing Fi or another like aggro deck in that sense, but like it's
yeah,
not the same. It's a different
it's not the
card pool
same.
too. I
Yes.
get it. I'm probably
Well,
in
but it's
the
funny that you
minority
name
for
a
this one.
Lightning Rune Blade
Yeah.
and then the Draconic Ninjas.
Yeah. It's
So are they maining a class?
no. They're mainly an archetype.
Yeah.
And they're not even doing that. They statistically didn't do that. They
They reasonably did.
did
When
they?
Syndra was at her height after Aurora left, it was a reasonable
Yeah.
overlap.
I'm gonna read a little bit of Ben here for a second, and then we'll get to
Yeah.
stream chat. And he was like, on Arsenal Pass, James White said Betsy is getting support soon. So man, I can't keep up with James White. He says so many things. And you like, sorry if I tuned in late. It's like, no, it's fine. You're good, dude.
Yeah.
Blippy, they're gonna have to put wager cards in Mastery Pack Warrior because it's draftable, and Olympia's in the set. Is Olympia in the set? Which is some
I
weird
mean, the
overlap.
weapon is, but I mean, I don't know how Mastery Pack Warrior is going to work for like crack shuffle play if they're talking about that. I don't know
I haven't
those
heard.
details. I couldn't hear
Yeah.
anything in the keynote because the acoustics in the venue were just the worst we've ever had.
That's so unfortunate because it was a proper video
They
instead
just
of
played a
live.
video, and it was just completely
At
inaudible.
Worlds, we had to pull it up on our phone because we were in the back of the room. Maja Bay and I were crowded around a phone trying to listen to
Yeah,
what they were saying at Worlds
yeah.
too.
In
Oh
class that
man.
you can end up waiting 500 plus days to see your class appear in a product. Yeah, I mean this is the balance they're trying to do because they want to do draftable sets like Dory QP, Olympia, and Hala. Okay.
Oh, is that real?
And is
Oh,
this like draftable or is this crack shuffle play?
I haven't heard anything about this. As you can tell, Kevin and I don't care about Warriors. It's not a real class.
I just haven't looked at it yet because it's not coming out anytime soon, and I have other stuff that I'm worried
He's
about.
on the. They're on the product sheet. Oh, okay. Huh.
Okay.
Interesting. When it was Master Pack Guardian, I still have, some Guardian in me, and I was like,
It is draftable. Okay. Interesting.
Master MPW 001, MPW 004, MPW
Uh,
006.
for who and who?
Quicksilver Prodigy is 1. Then
Okay.
Dawnblade Resplendent is 2.
Yep.
There's one more card, and then Hala Young, Zenith
Interesting.
Blade, and then Olympia. So I assume
Oh,
it's
so
probably Adult Hala.
Hala's
Adult
3,
Hala. And then
I would guess.
it goes Zenith Blade's 5, Olympia's 6. So we probably don't get Adult
Okay.
Olympia.
No, but you
His
don't
weapon is
need
7.
to.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I mean, you've got he's in heavy
and then
hitters, and the marbles
12
are there.
is the like sick art dynamos.
Yeah.
That art is awesome. Yes, it is draftable. That's sick, actually. That's actually something I didn't even pull it up on the fabtcg.com website. Like, I've only seen it on Fabrary. So I didn't look into it. That's sick. Oh, when does it come out? Not for a bit, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's after Vegas.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
guessing.
I think Wager is a fun mechanic. I think it's less fun when it's at reaction speed, but I think it's a fun mechanic.
Yeah. The Olympia support actually does look pretty solid so far.
Yeah, that weapon is kind of nutty.
August 7th, so after
Okay,
Vegas.
so it could be a UPF set.
Sure.
It could be a
Smash Palace
Smash
thing?
Palace.
Maybe.
I hope so. Smash Palace was the coolest thing they did for UPF hacking ever.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing. I think you weren't here for this, Kevin. Our sweet loving boy, Radio Captive, said that their hot take was Olympia is going to be tier 1 by the end of the year.
I don't think tier 1, but
I don't
a playable
either.
deck for sure. A lot of those gold payoffs are actually kind of crazy. Like,
The weapon itself is actually kind of exciting
Yeah, I mean,
that he gets it.
a gold is converting to 3 value.
That's awesome.
Like, you're either getting the red D react, which becomes a 1 card 6, or you get to swing your weapon for 3 for 0
He's
cards.
got attack reactions that are wagers. He's got 2 of them, right?
Anti.
There's
And
one for
the
quick and
helmet?
one for vigor. Like a 1 cost
Those
3.
are not wager.
Are they not? What am I thinking of? There's a heavy hitters, 1 for 3 reaction,
Yeah.
warrior,
Agile engagement.
agile. The engagements, aren't those wagers?
Those are not wagers. That is, if the opponent is defended with an attack action card, make the token.
What? Oh. I thought the engagements were wagers. Oh my gosh.
Nope.
What the frig? Oh. Alright. Yeah. I'm on board. Give me attack reaction wagers. Not
Yeah,
like a
up
lot,
the
and not
ante.
like great ones, but like nothing too
Yeah,
crazy.
up the ante and Prize Galea are
Those are
wagers.
the only ones. Okay. Alright, I was completely off.
I don't know. I think it would be fine if there was just like a straight up 1 for 3 react, create an agility or create a vigor, like, or
I think it
wager
works.
agility.
Wager them, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that'd be fine.
it's extra funny. You just happen to have 2 sync belows, and you just
Yeah.
take that agility from them. That's
Yeah.
completely fine. I thought there'd be a product sheet. I don't see one, but it looks neat. Yeah, I was saying the hot take was Olympia's tier 1 by the end of the year, and
I don't think tier 1.
my rebuttal to that was consistently in Fab 3.0, it looks like tier 1 decks are doing something almost inherently unfair, like something
Yeah.
just wildly good. That's like either it has hard like ways to interact with it or counteract it. And I don't think Olympia fundamentally can do that. Like
It's
I
not
don't. I
quite
don't.
unfair enough unless we get
Yeah.
some more wager stuff.
If you get,
Um,
I've turned this attack into a wager at reaction speed. That might be really good.
yeah,
Like imagine a
that would
one
be the
for
thing where it
three.
starts like,
Your weapon now has on wager. It now has wager a gold. Like a
yeah,
one pump it
that's
for
the kind
three wager
that would
gold.
like actually
That
make
would be
Olympia pretty good.
that would be very
Um,
good.
but yeah,
4 cycles of using equipment. Oh, he's still got that whole thing about all of his equipment is gold,
yeah.
and he buy
If
it
he
all
needs to, he
back.
can sack those. He can sack those equipment to
That's
swing
so
weapon.
wild. What a weird deck, actually.
Yeah,
This is another Huntsman example where it's like, what a silly odd deck that's doing something no one else is, and then they just drip feed it stuff until it's good. Everyone's getting support. It might be a few years.
yeah. I don't know. I think the cards we've seen are obviously way better than anything Olympia's had. And it's definitely a nice value engine, but it feels very warrior in that like the numbers are good, they are, but they're maybe a little too fair, and we don't see the spike turns where you would like deal more damage than your opponent can block.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
One card, heal 8, swing weapon for free 4 times. Yeah, if you want to go that way with the equipment rather than start with the equipment, that seems backwards to me.
Can't you have 2 copies?
No, they're legendary.
They're all legendary?
They're legendary keyworded.
Huh.
Oh yeah, if those are like
If you could
not
have
legendary
3
keyworded,
copies of them and you're...
yeah, no, this deck gets broken in half then, for
Okay,
sure.
all right.
Because
I'm here. I'm following.
that goes crazy. Because the thing before was like you'd block 8 with the equipment, you would visit the Golden Anvil, you would get a full equipment suite out of them suddenly. And like you can do that, but like
Is it... Yeah, is it more... What does Visit say?
0 cost no go again, I think. Sack X equipment and X gold, or sorry, sack X gold as an additional cost, equip that many equipment, I think is what it is.
It is actually more interesting to me if you start with all the gold equipment, you block 8 with them early mid game, sack them into
Yeah.
the weapon, and then you visit the Golden Anvil for real equipment, like proper warrior equipment.
Sure, you need 4 gold
Yeah, that's fine.
to do that.
You just make gold.
I mean, honestly, you could.
Honestly.
The answer could be
You just make gold.
Block 8 with those equipment, and then you sack them as your attacks, your weapon attacks that you wager on. You
You're
make
wagering.
more gold
You're
back,
making more
which
gold.
I think you need more wagers that make gold in that case.
As an additional cost to play, is destroy X gold, equip X weapons or equipment. Yeah, that's
I
it. No
think
go
you
again.
need, yeah. I think you need more wagers that make gold if you're going to go that route. And it's going to be a very good numbers deck, but I mean, you're not presenting your damage that you're presenting still might be too fair.
It might be.
Where people can like wait for you to have an off turn and just damage stack where you're like kind of the tough nut of
It might be very
the format.
fatigable too. Even I don't know, but
I don't think so. Just because
can you starve them
you can
with
just
gold?
you just swing the weapon. You just pitch a card.
I guess so.
Yeah, I agree. There's a ton of fun stuff you can do with the deck now. Like there is a great value engine there.
There was
But
a time when he just came out that it felt like there's no cards in the deck. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like there's
You were
no
just
decisions.
dual-wield
There's no,
warrior.
yeah. And it was
better dual wield warrior.
Yeah, and now it feels like there's an actual deck, which is huge and awesome. Visit isn't legendary, is it? I know it's a spec. I just looked it up.
Visit is not legendary, but
It's not legendary,
you need
no.
all the equipment in your sideboard, taking up sideboard slots to actually
And
get them.
if you wanted to do 2 of them, then it's like more gold. It is just a 0, 3 block
Yeah,
blue that like you
you're
could.
going to play all of them and
Yeah,
have the equipment in your sideboard, but
yeah.
I don't know how it actually will end up playing out just because of the way
I
stuff
could
works.
I could see someone playing
I
two if they felt like they needed to
Yeah,
as well, but
I do think it'll end up more like Tough Nut, where it's like if you play that turn value game with Olympia, you can lose that game very easily because the turn value is going to become insane. But if you just don't play turn value, then like does the deck just fall apart because it can't block with its one card 60 react? Like, and then its weapon swing is like less effective. Yeah, I want wagers where you make 2 gold because I just want to make gold in this deck now. That's all I want to do in this deck. Like just having double down exists. Yeah.
we're double down is cool because you can make it free off gold, right? That's that card.
Yes.
I'm worried I'm forgetting the card.
No, it's you sack a gold and it
Yeah.
becomes a 0 for 3 over pump with overpower if the next time you wager.
Mm-hmm.
And I think wager, if you would win a wager, you make an additional gold or something, I think is the text. But I don't know. I think he needs one more like actual gold wager, and then
And then
that would be the deck would be much happier.
yeah.
That would benefit the deck a lot more than like a generic wager. So
Yeah. I think it's playable. LOL. I think
Yeah.
this is good. I think we've hit a good spot. I think this is
Olympia tier 2.
Olympia tier 2. And that's fine. Olympia
Yep.
tier 2 is a huge upgrade.
Oh yeah.
And, like hacking Huntsman tier 2 is just exciting for people. You can play him at armories, and it's still a bit of a meme, but it's a meme because of the way the deck plays, not because of the quality of the deck. And I feel like Olympia
Yes.
might be a little bit of that too, where you're just like, oh, it's the deck that sacks all his equipment or whatever.
It's the funny value engine.
It's the funny
that
value
swings its
engine
weapon
deck.
for free,
And it'll win a
it'll
few
swing
games.
for 6,
It'll be great.
and then you block 6, and then you're fine.
Yeah. It's fun, and I think it's fun.
Yeah,
But I think that's all. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think I'm good for now.
Okay, then remember to go check out our merch at the table pit shop.fourthword.com, where you can get shirts that say things like Olympia's the payoff.
Olympia is the payoff. I mean, gold is actually the payoff now.
Gold is actually the gold. I mean, gold's always been good, but when you get a ton of gold, that is the payoff.
Yeah.
Piles of gold is the payoff. Olympia's the payoff might be an actual shirt. Not right now, but there's other shirts there. If you want to help make this stream look nicer and help us get supplies for our project videos, you can support us at patreon.com/thetablepit. I got a new microphone. Much needed. If you were not a fan of the duct taped microphone I had before, this is a much nicer one. And I feel much better about getting to record stuff at the desk. So I have a microphone for running around, but then I also have a microphone for being at the desk as well. Kevin, shoutouts? Videos?
I'll have my tournament report up tomorrow.
Woo! Did I get you a thumbnail for that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I didn't remember. Do you have any other videos coming out?
I'm going to try and get back into those fully.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to add a bunch of updates now that the deck has changed a decent chunk. So
I'm going to try to get a video out.
I should be able to.
By Wednesday next week is the deadline I'm giving myself now because I've realized I need a deadline.
Yeah.
But I think it could come out this weekend. And it's going to be a shorter video about what the Shapeshifter Cube is, how to play it. In the event that I know some people, they have questions about it, but then also just like, what if they printed their own? You know, like a little primer for it might be kind of nice. Something to get people excited if they know that we're bringing it to an event or something like that.
Sure.
and so that might be coming out. The other thing was we had a local this week at Armory that brought Prism. They were a Verdance player, and they brought Prism.
I heard about this.
Yeah, and at one point I was like, they went 3-0.
Yeah.
Almost first time playing Prism, and they were like, this deck after they beat Tim for the 3-0, I was like, holy frig, nice job. But they're like, man, this deck really knows how to make you feel stupid. And then we chatted for a bit more, and at one point I was like, you watched any of Smurph Fab's videos on Prism? And they were like, oh, no. I watched them all ahead of time. Like they had to go through the entire journey of learning Prism through your channel. That was sick.
Dope.
So that was the prep they needed to 3-0 their Armory first time on Prism. Was they just watched